News Alert. Good morning, everybody. Midweek now, immigration of the U.S. Supreme Court arguments begin later this hour that will ultimately decide if states have the power to enforce their own laws to arrest illegals. A lot on the line, especially when you consider an election year and everything that goes with it. So off we go. I'm Bill Hemmer. Welcome here. How you doing?
Yes, you are. Good morning, Bill Hemmer. I'm Martha McCallum. Good morning, everybody. So on the docket today, finally, that moment is here. SB 1070. 770. SB 1070 is the law, and it is considered one of the toughest in the nation. So the justices will now referee this clash between the Obama administration and the state of Arizona.
Yeah, Shannon Bream's on the steps outside the courthouse. And Shannon, good morning to you. How do the opponents of the law plan to convince the justices that this should not stand?
Well, Bill, first we have to acknowledge you may be able to hear quite a few protesters out here today. Dozens of them gathered, chanting here for and against this law. Those who oppose the law say that it is a case of states going too far, that the feds basically preempt. This is their area. This is their authority to regulate immigration. I talked with Cecilia Wong of the ACLU, who's been involved with fights over a number of similar state laws. She said there's also the issue of public policy, that this is all about legalizing racial discrimination. Here's a bit of what she told us.
The law is going to cause significant civil rights problems throughout Arizona and other laws that are going to consider similar legislation, regardless of the Supreme Court outcome, which is just about the issue of whether the state laws go outside the boundaries of state power and interfere with the federal government's control over immigration matters.
And Bill, there are 4 different provisions of the law at issue here today.
So the supporters of the law, how do they respond to that claim, Shannon?
Well, folks in Arizona say it's an absolute necessity. In their opinion, the federal government has not done its job in enforcing immigration laws. By the estimates of the Department of Homeland Security, there are 360,000 illegal immigrants in Arizona alone. We talked to Cochise County Sheriff Larry Deaver about it. He said he needs this law to help him do his job, and issues of racial profiling will not be tolerated. Here's what he had to say.
It's interesting that the Department of Justice did not argue that in their presentation. This whole racial profiling concept they didn't touch, because they understand that this is the only law in Arizona on the books that prohibits racial profiling. It actually goes into great detail and defines what the areas of reasonable suspicion and probable cause are as constraints for enforcing the law.
By the way, a brand new Fox News poll shows that 65% of those surveyed say they support this law, like the one in Arizona. 31% say they oppose it, 4% are unsure. But it's the 9 justices inside who are the only ones who matter when it comes to this. By the way, it's only 8 because Justice Kagan has actually recused herself. And so we'll wait to see how the vote turns out.
That
Bill?
we shall. Busy day, long day for you, Shannon, and an interesting one, too. Thanks. Shannon Bream at the Supreme Court. Martha.
And as we just mentioned, the Senate Democrats are already preparing a backup plan. If this ruling does not go their way, then the Senate Judiciary Committee had a hearing yesterday about this. They say that's something that the Republicans are calling basically a political stunt with regard to this whole thing. The author of the bill, Russell Pierce, testified on why he believes it was necessary. An opponent called it code for racial profiling. Watch.
I would propose that if Mr. Pierce and myself were walking down the street and you asked law enforcement to pick out the person who they suspect would be here undocumented, they're not going to be pointing at Mr. Pierce. They're going to be pointing at me.
Illegal is a crime, not a race. It doesn't pick out any nationality. Just so happens 90% of those who violate our immigration laws come from across that southern border or are Hispanic
citizens.
Fired up debate there yesterday, and it continues today in the court, of course. If the Supreme Court does uphold 1070, New York Democrat Charles Schumer has vowed that he will sponsor a law that would then nullify it.
Well, a closer look now at the illegal immigrants in the U.S. By the numbers, there are roughly 11.5 million illegals living in the country right now. For every illegal arrested at the border, another 2.7 make it into the U.S. undetected. Arizona has the 9th largest population of illegal immigrants, according to the Department of Homeland Security.